I'm Dave Jewett here with Bailey Myers at Gamescom 2024, and we just played the new upcoming life sim, InZOI.
Yes, you watched me make a real mess of that world out there.
Yeah, I hope you lead your real life better than your virtual one.
Hard to say. I mean, in the course of about 40 minutes, I lit my entire house on fire, got into no less than a dozen accidents, and almost died because I forgot to eat.
That was one of the things that was actually weirdly cool to see. So we should address it's never going to escape the Sims parallels.
No, and in fact, the developer doesn't want it to. The person who took the lead on it is a big member of the Sims custom content community. He studied art, and his whole thing was he just wanted to make a Sims-like that was respectful to his inspiration while still being different and more managerial focused. You're more building a community rather than just focused on one individual ZOI. They're called ZOIs in this world. And I think most importantly, because you're managing this community, you have to have a boss managing you, and that boss is a cat.
That loomed from the ceiling in a rather terrifying way during the preview.
It was amazing. I don't know how they got it up there.
But that's one of the interesting things. It's like you're managing individuals, but you're also managing the world at the same time, the city, these pockets of reality.
Yeah, and it's so customizable. You can change how the city can look pristine, or you can just slide the slider on down and suddenly it's a desolate post-apocalyptic wasteland.
Yeah, I don't know why you made their virtual version of Santa Monica like an atom bomb had dropped, but I was like, well, it's cool that you can do that.
I wanted it to match my mental image of Santa Monica.
You're allowed to say that. You're from
I'm
California.
from there. I'm allowed to say that.
You nearly starved to death because there were so many things to interact with and things to do that you were actually forgetting to eat. And then at one point your ZOI was like, oh, I've got volleyball, I have to head out.
Yeah, we cooked a whole omelet and then she was like, sorry, the schedule's the schedule.
And you open up into the world, your house is on fire, but as soon as you took to the street, the amount of people you could interact with, you ended up going to the beach, you headed onto the amusement pier, and all of the rides were interactable, all of the stalls.
We rode a roller coaster and it switched to first person, so it was a roller coaster simulator for a hot minute. It was a lot of fun.
But you said you played a lot of The Sims.
I have.
So how does this feel with all those extra layers of interaction, the immensely detailed character creator, as well as the sort of overworld stuff that you're being tasked by a cat to do?
It definitely feels more of an open world than The Sims does. With The Sims, when you want your Sim to leave the house, you have to pick a specific destination for them. And then once they leave the lot, it's sort of either go to another lot or go back to your home. With this, it felt like my ZOI had more of a free roaming capability. She would just walk up and down the street. I would plop down a little photo booth for her to use. She'd use it, have a great time with it, and just interact with all the people she encountered. We were just sort of following our bliss out there and just seeing where the wind took us. We bought a car.
Crashed
the car so many times. But it really leaves a lot of options open to you. There are well over 1,500 assets in the world that you can just put down there so you can customize the world yourself. And then even in the creation process, there's about 250 assets, so your ZOI can look like whatever you want them to. Right now, the most popular ZOIs that the community have created look like Shrek and Billie Eilish.
I mean, those are two options, I guess. Let's go back to the sort of overarching city management, person management thing for a sec, because when you were describing it to me, it sounded like weirdly philosophical and a bit dark, like what your sort of main objective is as the person building the city and controlling the ZOIs.
Yes, the developer specifically said that he was inspired by the philosophy of Stoicism to make this, which I found so interesting. But essentially what you're trying to do is help these ZOIs to behave in a morally good way. You don't have to, but when their lifespan ends, and it's approximately twice the length of the average lifespan of a sim, when their lifespan ends, if they were good in their life, they get to go to ZOI heaven. And if they weren't, they haunt the city as a ghost. And if there are too many ghosts, you can't add any more new ZOIs to your city until you help the ghost ZOIs move on by having them do good deeds.
This sounds simultaneously very wholesome, but I know for a fact as soon as this game comes out, someone's making like haunted, gross ghost scenes.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you can change the dynamics of the city, like what the AI is having these Zois do when you're not watching them. You can have it so that they're really motivated to get into relationships, they're really argumentative. You can make it so that they have no social consciousness at all. They're just throwing litter everywhere. Like, you can make a real hellhole of a city if you so desire. But you can also help these Zois get into heaven. That's cool.
Even the ways that these Zois interacted as well, there seems to be, you have the, can't remember the in-game term for it, when you click on another sim and you have the bubbles of interactions. Like that, you were scrolling for ages for some of these. The only one that I remember seeing was fart silently,
yes,
or fart like stealthily.
That was it was a karmic interaction. You can have your Zoi do all sorts of little stinker moves, including fart secretly, I believe was
2024 was the year that game developers added crop dusting to gameplay mechanics. To give a sort of overarching look at just your experience and what we saw, let's go through the Zoi day you had very quickly so we can get a sense of the little things you did and the things that you were able to experience.
Sure. Well, the first thing my Zoi did after I created her, and she moved into her brand new beautiful apartment in Santa Monica, Bliss Pier, I think, the Bliss Bay, I believe they call it in the game. She went to go watch her favorite Twitch streamers, which immediately made her television burst into flames, and then her couch caught fire as well. So we had to crisis manage. We put out the fire. We replaced the equipment. And then I had to comfort my Zoi. She was a self-starter, we decided was her main personality trait, a go-getter. So we had her read a self-help book, which really put her mood in a better place, I would say, following that devastating fire. After that, we went to explore the town. We talked to a lot of different people. We took photos in the photo booth that I plopped right in front of her. And then we headed to the beach, where we played some carnival games, rode one of those little critters that's on a springy that's usually outside.
That was while you were starving to death. I was like,
yes,
why? I mean, that's a choice. There was a panini van 20 feet away, but you choose the rocking horse.
Yeah, you got to prioritize entertainment sometimes. She had a great time out there even while she was starving. Yeah, she played some carnival games, I believe I mentioned. And then, I realized she was starving, so I got her some popcorn, which was not the long-term solution I had hoped it would be. But we went on a roller coaster, had a great time on the roller coaster, and then I figured we needed some sort of solution to the starving thing, so back to the house to see what cooking would look like. The cooking was really cool because we had her make an omelet, and when we zoomed in, you can see that she's cooking an egg in the pan. Like, it's really detailed. And she made a really beautiful looking omelet, which she abandoned because she had on her schedule, which in her little mobile phone, you can see a schedule all written out, and you can cancel tasks, add tasks. She wanted to go to a volleyball game, and who was I to stop her? So off she went. I finally was able to feed her a panini when she was out there. She practiced dribbling a ball for a little. And then we headed back home, bought a car, and drove around the city crashing into all other cars. We were trying to drive carefully because apparently if you run red lights, cops will give you tickets in the game. But no mention of what happens if you hit other people. Sometimes those other people do get mad at you, which does feel realistic to me. But my Zoi managed to get away scot-free, so I think everyone was fine with what she did.
Is it just your Zoi that you can control, or can you sort of enter the lives of other Zois too?
No, there are any Zoi in the city that you create and you add in, you can jump into that life. And they really expect you to sort of build a community. While you can stay focused and stay on just one Zoi, you can also just add as many as you please. Create a whole wide variety of people to interact with each other, with the world. And it's really more about managing the whole city rather than just one family focused.
It feels like a weird blend of The Sims and The Good Place in weird ways.
Yeah,
but
I could see that.
Are you excited?
I am excited. I was particularly excited. There was one interaction in particular that I was really excited about, and it was, we met a stranger on the street, we were talking to her, we were really hitting it off, and then at one point, my Zoi was given the option to suggest that she was living in a simulation, which really blew the other Zoi's mind. But it seemed like they remained friends afterward, and they may go out sometime. Who knows? They really hit it off. Next time you're trying to, hang out with someone you think is pretty cool, maybe suggest that you're in a simulation as well. It always works.
Well, we won't have to wait long to learn more about InZOI. Early access starts later this year, I believe.
Yes, it absolutely does. And the character creator is already available on Steam, so you can get creating as soon as you please.
So go make your own Shrek on the character creator. And for more on InZOI, make sure you stay tuned to GameSpot.